Something doesn't feel right.
No One Lives Under the Lighthouse is a 2020 side horror game by Ukrainian developers and Revo Collective, a team of only 6 people, at a PS5 and 4 port in 2023, published via Torture Jar Video, the Puppet Combo publishing company. Really lovely low poly PlayStation 1 graphics, this sleek color palette, like it did not have much color or hue saturation at all. It just had this foggy, lonely lighthouse island energy that matched the setting of the game perfectly. And leaving so much to the imagination also ups the ante on some of the horror elements in the game, so you can't really see what's going on. It was a supernatural mystery with cosmic horror elements to it.
First-person shooter. It's like Call of Duty.
Then a sprinkling of first-person shooter.
I just threw up. The game is absolutely beautiful.
It is gorgeous. Love letter to fog, mist, rain. There was a really beautiful rain section in there, I just remember, where the weather is very dynamic throughout too, so you're in the same environment on a lonely lighthouse island, but that feeling and the action within that small environment changes enough that it feels fresh and surprising.
And just like that's beautiful.
Yeah, I remember some really key scenes in the lighthouse itself. And this mundanity of tasks sometimes in the game lended itself to the horror for me. Because you're just this dude living his life that just has to do these really, really, really boring tasks to keep the lighthouse alive. Which in and of itself is kind of terrifying, like the idea of being alone and having to do the same thing over and over and over again. And then you add in something actually threatening to that. And you gotta keep the lighthouse going. Like, you as the lighthouse keeper, if you let that go out, and you're gonna be probably responsible for a whole lot of deaths. So there's like huge stakes too implied.
It's not funny.
Yeah, it's like a lonely, cerebral, atmospheric energy. This vessel is monster light of Earth games and money from size of Earth games. This game is in the night and money from size can be found on when him.
Oh boy. We're talking about a still wakes the deep from the Chinese museum. The last one that Dan Pinchak wrote, directed, at least the beginning of it.
Yeah, he co-directed, scenario written, and directed half of it. The direction's then taken over by art director John McCormick. Came out in 2024, PC and PS5. Essentially, pitched as the thing aboard the Scottish oil rig, and that is what it does to a large degree. But it does so very inventively and immersively, and it doesn't just feel like a straight derivative. First of all, the Scottish part of that Scottish oil rig is so deeply ingrained. Like, they hired Scottish actors from all over the country. They did a ton of research. John McCormick himself is Scottish, and I just really loved how deeply they leaned into like trying to properly represent this community rather than
the language too.
Yeah, and they included a Gaelic language option, which is huge because Scottish is not very much a dying language, and not very many people speak it anymore. So just the reverence.
Yeah, none of that stuff phoned in. Like,
No, yeah, not phoned in at all.
Basis for it.
I was like learning slang I didn't know and all kinds of things. Like it wasn't designed for my comfort as somebody who wasn't familiar with a whole lot of Scottish language stuff. I had to fill in the gaps once in a while and be like, I think that's what they mean, and I love that. That's perfect.
Yeah, beautiful. You can just look at the water and it paints the whole picture just impenetrable, gray, dark.
This one hits the water fear on multiple levels. Like that extending ocean in all directions with nowhere to go, and then the thalassophobia thing of what is beneath you at the same time. And then there's nice claustrophobia thrown in.
Oh, frickin' crap.
And it's not even that what they're asking you to do is functionally difficult from a gameplay perspective. It's difficult from a psychological perspective. And that's so masterful. Like, it's not like, oh, these button presses are really hard and I'm intimidated. It's just, I don't want to do that. But I feel too much in this person's shoes right now, which also says a whole lot about how impressively immersive this game was.
Oh.
It never felt too heavy-handed to me.
They just nail the piecing together the action with some very thoughtful, thought-provoking, that is not cheesy or evil.
And I just, they had, and it surprised me sort of who got to live longer in the story. A lot of times certain people tend to get killed off early in horror tropes, and it did a really, really interesting thing, like letting us spend more time with certain characters than I had expected. A lot of competence among a lot of people too, and that's also a really refreshing thing in horror. It's like everybody kind of did things correctly and right given circumstances, but there's just such a insurmountable odds that you're against. Yeah, really quality from both a horror story perspective and an emotional perspective. And the game is gorgeous. But there's the Scottish concept called Dry. That's just this foggy, gray, and murky energy, and that's what they were reaching for.